Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to discussing about another Spark important interview question, that is how we will move Spark code from development phase to production phase. This video is very helpful for all the data engineers, and please watch this video till end, then you will get clear idea about it. This process includes multiple phases. I'll explain one by one. The first one is develop code locally. Before start this phase, first we need to get the requirement. So in that case, our project manager and Scrum Master, they will create some specific Jira stories for requirement, and they will assign each and every user stories to the respective developers. Now they completed their task. That means they created user story and they assigned to us. Now we need to start the development for the respective requirement. First, we need to understand what exactly is happening for that user story. Once you got clear information about that user story, we can start the development. For development perspective, we can install some specific IDs. Those are Eclipse, IntelliJ, and Visual Studio. Those are the development IDs. So we, now we are planning to start Spark code to develop the requirement. In that case, we need to use any one of the APIs. Those are PySpark or Scala. That means you can develop your Spark application using any one of the APIs. So once the development is done, then we need to test the code. In that case, we'll take some sample data like 10 or 15 lines of rows, and we'll do our testing. So for testing purpose, we can test using our local laptop or a dev clusters. Now next step is push code to the Git. Now development is done and you tested locally and it is working as expected. Now we need to move that code to the Git. Here Git is nothing but source controller. This from here only we will move that code from Git to production environment. So in that case, what we need to do, first we need to commit our changes from local to your feature branch. The feature branch is nothing but we'll create some separate branch. That separate branch is having only your changes. Okay. Once that part is done, then we need to create PR from your feature branch to release branch. So now release branch is having all the changes. So that is the reason you are planning to move your changes from your feature branch to release branch. So while creating this PR, we can attach our test results and documentation. And while creating this PR, what we will do, we'll provide some specific reviewer name or approver name to approve your changes. Now phase 3, code review and merge. So in your PR, you mentioned some specific approver name, right? Or reviewer name. So what they will do, once you submit the PR, that notification will send to the specific peoples and they will validate or verify your code changes. If those are fine, then they will click on merge. This merge will perform the take data from your feature branch and commit into the main branch. So now your latest code changes is available on the release branch. Now we need to move that release branch code to the respective servers, whether it is a UAT servers or production servers. In that case, we'll use the CI/CD pipelines. The CI/CD pipelines, what they will do, they will take data from release branch and they will build the jars or zips and they will upload that specific jar to the respective artifact area. Those are S3 or artifact tree. So now next step, configuration for production. Now your development is done and the artifact is ready. Now we need to move that artifact to the production servers. In that case, same thing, will create some CI/CD pipelines. These CI/CD pipelines will take the data, will take the artifacts from the specific location, and that will move to the respective production servers. So in that case, we need to create some configuration files like what are the environment variables and we need to specify some specific path. That means where exactly your artifact jar needs to be copied to the specific production servers, and store securely for the secrets. That means username and password. Instead of passing or giving that username and password in config file, simply we can take it those details from the AWS config manager, secret manager, for the security purpose. Now deploy to the production. Now all are done, your environment files are done and your data is, your jars are ready and everything. Now we need to deploy the changes to the production. In that case, like we will have the different types of CI/CD pipelines and airflows, and even manually also we can deploy. That means we need to copy that specific jar to your production servers. So, and where exactly you need to deploy, like based on your requirements. If you guys are using EMR clusters, then they will deploy the specific jar to the EMR cluster path. And if you are using the Databricks, they will move to the Databricks. And if it is Kubernetes, they will move the jar to the Kubernetes. and use this Spark Submit to test your applications. Now post deployment validations. So now deployment is done. Now after deployment, we need to validate our changes is working or not. In that case, what we need to do, just we need to check our Spark logs and UA for the issues. That means once the deployment is done, then we'll request support team to run the job. So once the job is done, then we'll need to validate the Spark application logs whether those changes are implemented or not, and we need to validate data outputs. After Spark application is done, then we need to validate whether we are getting expected output or not for these changes, and confirm DAG and workflow succeeded. That means in production, if you want to run any Spark application directly, it's not possible to run our Spark Submit. What we can do, just we can create some specific DAG or AutoSys jobs. These jobs, what we'll do, it will run based on the scheduler. So that is the reason we'll request support team to run those jobs, and they will run it, and we will validate the DAG and workflow succeeded. Now backfill and resume. That means here, let's take one example. You found some issues in production. Okay, in that case, like what happened, we won't run the job continuously until that issue is fixed. So in that case, what we will do, just we'll stop the job or we'll hold it. So now our production deployment changes is happen maybe after 10 days. Within these 10 days, like we have some historical data in source level. First, what we need to do, we need to copy that historical data to the production based on your requirement, and we need to take care of that job need to be run safe and rerun. So and custom data ranges is required. Now monitor and hand up. So after deployment is done, and once they started our production job in support team, then we need to monitor whether are you seeing any issues or not, and if we don't find any issues, then we can hand off to the clients. That means like, okay, the changes are went fine and we are getting expected results. There is no issue there is no issues in production right now. Okay, now what we learn as of now, just like that, how we need to move data from development environment to production environment. Okay, if you want more videos like this, please subscribe my channel. Thank you.